Whispers of the Forgotten Room. Chapter 1. The Forgotten Room. I stepped onto the weathered porch, my eyes tracing the familiar outlines of the childhood home where laughter once filled every corner and memories were made under starry skies. The summer sun hung low, casting long shadows that stretched across the lawn like skeletal fingers reaching out to claim what once was. 20 years had passed since I'd set foot inside these walls, yet little remained unchanged. My heart raced with a mix of unease and nostalgia as I fumbled for my keys, the metallic click of the lock breaking the silence. It wasn't until the door swung open that reality hit me. Time hadn't been kind to our family's abode. Dust coated every surface, the air thick with an eerie stillness, as if it had stood empty since the day we left. Memories swirled in my mind like a maelstrom, laughter echoing through these rooms, whispers of secrets shared over midnight feasts and birthdays that never seemed to end. Yet now, only shadows lingered within. My parents' divorce and mother's passing had scattered us far and wide. Our home remained frozen in time, a relic of happier days we'd long forgotten. As I stepped across the threshold, something caught my eye. An old door hidden behind a tattered tapestry, concealed from view since childhood. The once vibrant colors of the floral print had faded to hues of gray and brown. Curiosity propelled me forward, fingers tracing the frame as if searching for answers in the peeling paintwork. It was locked. A rusty key hung on a hook just outside. I wondered how long it had hung there waiting. Unnerved by the thought of intruders and my own senseless curiosity, I turned the key with trembling hands. The door swung open with an unsettling groan, revealing what seemed to be the forgotten room of my childhood fantasies, yet never truly existed. A musty odor assaulted me as I stepped across the threshold, eyes widening at the contents within. Dusty trunks stood atop each other like sentinels guarding ancient secrets, adorned with cobwebs as delicate as a spider's work of art. Faded photographs in ornate frames lined walls once painted in colors too vibrant to be real. Faces both familiar and unknown stared out, their smiles fading into the gloom. Yellowed newspaper clippings spoke of forgotten events and people I'd never known. A wooden desk held fastidious stacks of letters, hundreds, thousands perhaps, tied with faded ribbon in a color that might once have been crimson or burgundy. Unopened packages bearing strange stamps adorned in ink I couldn't decipher filled another trunk. On closer inspection, they were addressed to someone named Amelia Rose Wellesley. Surely not my mother? The name held an otherworldly ring to it now. Shadows danced at the corners of my gaze, as if darkness itself recoiled from this room's presence. It felt wrong like a forgotten chapter in our history. Each relic drew me deeper into its mystery. A vintage locket with an image that looked nothing like any family member I recalled. A faded journal belonging to some Amelia Rose Wellesley, detailing travels and an air of longing. And a book filled with sketches of buildings I'd never seen, tinged with the faintest whisper of blood. Each relic held secrets buried by time, or perhaps something else. A sense of trespassing settled in my chest as fingers brushed against the pages. But each new discovery only deepened my fascination. The room's silence was broken when a floorboard creaked beneath my foot. Whispers. I turned to face empty space, a chill creeping up my spine. Not quite cold enough for winter, but unsettling nonetheless. They seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere, an ethereal lullaby that echoed through the room. Alex? Alex! It was my name, spoken with longing. The hairs on my arms rose as if beckoned by unseen hands. I took a step forward, find what's hidden. Each word felt like a command. In the heart of this forgotten space, where memories blurred into myth and reality, strange things began to transpire. Books fell from shelves without wind or touch, settling in neat piles around me. Pages fluttered as if kissed by an unseen breath. They spoke of my mother's love letters, penned with urgency and longing for a person named James. A journal slipped from my hand, landing with a thud that echoed through the stillness. I glanced up at the ceiling as though daring something to show itself. My gaze lingered on a painting, a young girl in a long skirt playing by an old oak tree. Amelia Rose? A sudden gust rattled windows and curtains, sending shadows across the walls like restless spirits searching for a place to settle. As I turned to leave, my foot knocked against something heavy buried under layers of fabric. Dust motes danced as I unearthed a trunk bound with twine, tied tightly. Inside, a sepia photograph caught my eye. Not Mom, but an Amelia Rose Wellesley, her eyes locked onto mine across time and distance. The room's secrets whispered louder now, urging me on. With trembling hands, the first letter was unfastened, its pages crackling with age. It spoke of journeys to far, flung places, a love that spanned decades. My mother's voice echoing through words penned long before I was born. The letter's ink-stained fingers blurred lines, every dearest James, each promise never kept. I felt an inexplicable connection, as if their longing for him echoed a sorrow buried deep within me, one-eyed thought long forgotten. My own memories of this place began to seep through the parchment, whispers swirling like ethereal voices in my mind. Strange things occurred. Books fell and mended themselves. Shadows darted at the corners of vision's periphery. Laughter drifted on warm air, though no one was there. The room grew darker as night descended outside, as if drawn into an abyss that wasn't quite day, but not fully night either. In the midst of this surreal symphony, I heard James' name whispered alongside mine. Alex, find me. Shadows lengthened, stretching like skeletal fingers. Every step felt monitored by unseen eyes as I delved deeper into Amelia's tale. The room a portal to a forgotten era. The air was alive with secrets that yearned for my touch. And then there were whispers. They grew louder, urging me closer to understanding. In that moment, a sense of familiarity suffocated me like a warm embrace from beyond the veil. I recognized nothing and everything within this newfound sanctuary. A floorboard creaked behind me. I whirled, confronting a figure in the doorway. Only shadows danced there, yet an unmistakable presence lingered, heavy with unspoken truths, beckoning me closer to Amelia's tale. Fingers traced the spine of an old journal, and as my eyes met those of James' photograph, something flickered within its glassy gaze. The faintest hint of a smile before darkness consumed it once more. In this room, I'd uncovered fragments of people long past, their lives intertwining with mine in ways both inexplicable and unsettling. Chapter 2. The Whispering Walls. Days passed, each spent unraveling tales hidden within Amelia's letters and a journal that felt penned for my eyes alone. Shadows crept from the corners, taking on lives of their own. One morning, I awoke to find sketches in James' book. Places where I'd wandered as a child, drawn with ink that shimmered like blood. Night became more pronounced as they did each day. Night's veil grew thinner until moonlight and starlight danced across the walls, as though light itself feared what lurked within this space. In it, secrets whispered to be unearthed, the room now my sanctuary. I dared not sleep here, but found myself drawn back. Whispers intensified, "Find me." Fingers trailed over sketches. Shadows took on a life of their own, mimicking movements from a bygone era. The air was charged with longing and a sense of loss that predated my birth. I spoke aloud, seeking solace. "I'll find you." A gust shook the room as pages fell from James' journal, opening to sketches of this house. It bore the same oak tree from the painting, where Amelia Rose Wellesley's eyes seemed to hold secrets. In the fading light, shadows coalesced into ethereal figures. They moved around me, tracing every path I'd tread on moonlit nights long past. It wasn't the darkness that kept me up that night, but a single, final sentence penned by James. "My love is lost in this house." Somewhere between dream and waking, shadows formed a silhouette, beckoning. The door, once locked by time, now swung open to midnight silence. I walked those hallowed halls. Amelia Rose Wellesley's laughter, an echo from another era, drifted down the corridor, each step revealing secrets of this house that felt both my own and long dead. Shadows danced ahead, leading me through rooms I'd never known existed until the whispering stopped, replaced by an unearthly quiet. In a bedroom with oak tree engravings on the doorframe, a young girl stood, looking out at moonlight. She turned. Our eyes met. Her face a blend of features familiar and unknown. "You're James," she whispered. "My love is lost." I spoke, voice trembling. "I'm Alex, but your love? Lost in this house?" Her gaze drifted to the window before disappearing into shadow as suddenly as she materialized. In that moment, every room seemed alive with whispers and longing. Shadows danced, guiding me through the house I now possessed without memory. A study door revealed a small box, hidden away for decades. It contained the locket, Amelia's sketches of the oak tree where we'd once stood together. The girl materialized beside me. They found me. Her eyes reflected my own. What is this love? But an answer was taken by darkness. Moonlight fled, leaving only shadows and a lingering sense that I was no longer alone. Every step led me closer to finding James or the love he spoke of. The whispers grew louder, guiding me into places forgotten in dreams. A hidden door revealed more, Amelia's room. Each sketch of oak trees leading to an old wooden desk where my mother once sat and penned these tales. In a faded chair, I found solace with her words, tracing lines that connected lives across the years. Shadows formed around us as one final page fell from James' journal. It bore sketches of our house in a time before time. The room vibrated with unspoken histories and longing for a love long lost. Night air carried me to an attic room, where Amelia's stories became my own. And there, nestled within trunks, was Dearest James, a letter penned from the heart's edge, speaking of love and loss that spanned decades. Chapter 3. The Haunting Truth. In this house, shadows were people. They danced at dusk and night, whispering secrets in tongues I didn't understand. Shadows coalesced before me. A man who looked vaguely familiar, yet felt like a phantom. "You've found me," he said with eyes that held the weight of time. Amelia Rose Wellesley's voice filled my head. The past, present, and future blending in this room, where secrets resided in shadows and whispered tales. My heart, long thought lost to the silence of a single story, thrummed as I faced him. He spoke, "Love is lost." We'd both found what was hidden, Love lost, yet still spoken to. A door creaked. The man stood before me, James' face in the moonlight, eyes alight with secrets he wouldn't speak aloud. Shadows parted for us. His hands cradled my cheeks as if I were his daughter. A connection that spanned decades and forgotten tales. The past is full of stories, he said. The present holds hearts. In that embrace, the world spun on its axis. Echoes merged in me. It was James' hand that held mine now as moonlight faded. We walked through rooms where laughter and longing intertwined with my own memories. Shadows danced behind us. He spoke of travels across continents and a love that weathered time yet never found peace. A woman, older than I could ever remember, spoke in the study. She was Amelia Rose Wellesley. Every breath, she drew an echo from another age. In this timeless space where secrets dwelled, we held each other close as the shadows took on lives of their own. We'd found what love and loss had hidden for centuries. A story that spanned decades, weaving between us. Shadows bore witness to our reunion under starlight, in rooms where laughter once filled the air. Secrets long buried spoke through whispers and tales of hearts entwined by the past, present, and future. The man whose eyes held a tale spoke softly. Love lost, but not forgotten. Shadows danced outside, bearing testament to secrets unearthed beneath moonlight's gentle embrace. Love found us, though I never knew its name. It was a journey through stories in timeless night.